All right, just doing some work, had some inspiration. Wanted to get the flip cam and record. First, we'll look at my whiteboard. I am polishing the first 100 notes for the coffee table book, as I mentioned in the last video. I've edited the first 10 old school ones on Seneca, Aurelius, Rumi, Lao Tzu, Confucius, Krishna, Buddha, Emerson, Nietzsche, and Epictetus. Working on Campbell, James Allen, Anthony DeMello, Ernest Holmes, Dale Carnegie, Leo Buscaglia, another Campbell note, Maxwell Maltz, Irvin Seal, Osho, and Ayn Rand. I'll be working on that tomorrow and beyond and filling it out with the top 100. But that's not why I pressed record. Here's the lovely goddess. Say hello, please. There she is. We got some beautiful flowers as well. I wish I could put the smell on the flip cam, but it doesn't seem to be working quite that way yet. Soon. So anyway, here's the office for this evening. Now, I am doing some journaling, and as you know, I mentioned many times how much I love my journal, and these days I'm doing some planning on kind of what my monthly goals are, what my quarterly goals are. So we've got, I love drawing these little things. So what am I going to do in October? What am I going to do in the next quarter? What's my 1 month goal, my 1 quarter goal, my 1 year goal, my 3 year goals, just playing with that. Really seeing where I want to put my energy. I like to map out the Hedgehog Concept from a great book called Good to Great on business stuff. You know, what can I be the best in the world at? What can I be great at? What do I love to do is another circle, and then what would the world pay for? So they talk about the greatest businesses are able to kind of meet at the nexus of those 3 circles. So what can I be the best in the world at? What do I love to do? And what will the world pay for? So that idea of coming together. So I've been thinking about that as I take next steps with my own life and Philosopher's Notes as a business. And one of the things I'm looking to do is to synthesize the 100 notes that I've written. And here's the journal again. So this is the big old binder. These are the 100 notes that I've written. There are 1,000 big ideas in here. And my challenge now is, how do I take these 1,000 big ideas and distill it into a meaningful philosophy for the 21st century? So that's what I'm working on. And next stage is kind of distilling this into a book and a workshop and into just a cool way to inspire and empower myself and us to live our greatest lives in the 21st century. So that's the basic idea. So anyway, that's a very long context. Thanks for staying with me there. In the, evolving philosophy, we have 10 different principles. This is going to be kind of hard to read probably. We've got optimism. We've got, so getting your optimism on. That's principle number 1. Everybody says the same thing, and they come back to optimism again and again and again. Finding your genius and playing in your zone of genius. That's another really big idea. And then we've got setting goals and creating a vision for your life. We've got just do itness. We've got energy, optimizing your energy. You're going to have a hard time reaching your highest potential if you have a hard time getting out of bed kind of thing. Getting your money on, so circulating wealth consciously, getting your wisdom on, love, courage, and spirit. I'm going to go into all those in more detail in the future. For now, it just took me 4 minutes to set the context so that I can talk about optimism, which is the number 1 principle. So I'm sitting here mapping out, I like to do little mind maps. This is kind of like my adapted mind map, if you will, where the theme is optimism. What could I share? If I was going to run a workshop on this, and there's going to be 10 different principles that I just went through, and we're going to spend an hour on each principle, let's say, what would I say about optimism? That was what I was thinking about and got excited about it. And the first idea here is learned helplessness versus optimism. Really cool concept there. And I'm realizing I'm not going to have enough time to get through all this. We're already at 4 minutes and 25 seconds and ticking. So I'm going to go over a very, very high level. Then I'll go into more detail on these, I think, another time. But anyway, learned helplessness versus optimism. Then you've got Abraham Hicks and their emotional guidance system, which is awesome, which goes from empowerment to disempowerment. And how you feel is a reflection of how connected you are to source. And if you're not feeling great, if you're not feeling optimistic about the world, then you're just unplugged. What can you do to plug back in? It doesn't need to be a big deal. Just plug back in. Then we move from there into the idea of positive psychology. It's one of the top 12 ways to increase our levels of happiness. And so we'll talk about that. We'll look at the best selves diary, right? So this idea of creating your best self is one of the best vision of your ideal self is one of the best ways to get your optimism on. And then there's kind of a nice little flow here of creating dynamic tension between your ideal state and your current reality. I'm not sure if that's coming through or not. My apologies if it's not. And holding the tension between your ideal and your current reality. And when we do the other principles with goals and vision and that stuff, we'll talk more about the ideal. But to hold optimism, it's really important that we're able to hold this tension, this dynamic tension. And one of the ways we do that is by loving what is and embracing the power of now. So Byron Katie and Eckhart Tolle talk a lot about this powerful stuff. So we go into detail on that, right? So how do we really love where we are, our current reality, and act as if whatever we're experiencing was something we scripted to have come into our lives? So no complaining, no criticism, no blaming, all that good stuff goes away, all that bad stuff goes away. And the whole idea here is that we become creators rather than victims. So one of my favorite teachers, I did another one of these discussions, mind maps, on a book called The Power of Ted, where we look at the difference between a victim orientation and a creator orientation. So this is a really important theme that we'll go into in the full discussion of optimism. But that's another big idea, creator versus victim. And that comes back to the whole idea of emptiness. So in Buddhism, they talk about emptiness. Everything is neutral, right? How we see the world is a reflection of our own consciousness. So we'll talk about ink blobs, right? And this idea of projector's lenses. And if there's something on the movie screen of life, right, we think it's on the movie screen of life. We think that something is wrong with something outside of ourselves, when in fact there's a lint on the projector's lens. That's the issue. If we can clean our consciousness, we're going to see the world in an entirely different way. So that's big. And then this little idea of the event happens plus our interpretation equals reality. E plus I equals reality. Just came up with that, actually. It's kind of cool. So many different people say different things. Jack Canfield says that an event plus, what does he say? I forget what he says. But something along those lines equals outcome, right? But this idea that an event happens, but most people think the event happens and that equals reality. But that's not the case. Something can happen, but it's neutral. It's our interpretation that creates our reality. So the question here as we look at optimism is, what's the most empowered way we can look at this situation, right? Big idea. There you go. That's an incredible whirlwind. I'm really sensitive to your time, but we just danced through it. Thank you very much for playing with me. But this is what I'm spending my time on right now. Really excited as the month ends and I look at the next 3 months and just see how I want to shape the next quarter and the next year and the next decade of my life, and how I can create as much value in the world and just have fun giving my gifts to the world in the most powerful way. So that's what I'm up to. Hope you enjoyed. Look forward to getting deeper into all this and sharing more with you soon as I create these for the next 10 principles. I love blank pieces of paper. All right, trust you're doing great. Talk to you soon. Bye.